We're not born with depth of soul. We're born with the capacity for depth of soul. If you think of an oak seedling, when you see it, this is an oak, but the seedling, it speaks of future possibility. You just kind of feel the drama. Is it going to grow into itself? Is it going to become what its nature is calling for? Well, it's similar with human persons. What does it take for us to come to the depth of soul that we have the natural capacity for? So the great question, the great philosophers, they thought about this again and again and again. What does it take to cultivate depth of soul in ourselves and in others? There's so much to say about that. There's so much to think about here. But it's nice sometimes just to start with something very specific. Surely, a major way that we cultivate our soul, that we cultivate a greater depth in our soul, is through learning from others, through the experience of other people. Well, there's different ways of learning, of growing through their experience, because there's different ways their experience can be shared with us. Music is an astounding way of this happening. It's so easy to miss this. Music is a uniquely powerful way the deep, profound, rich human experience is, in a sense, encapsulated, incarnated. It comes alive in this music. And we don't have to get into the music theory. It's just clear from experience. The great thinkers have always seen this. It's not necessarily just a reflection of what's in the soul of the one who composed the music or who's performing the music. Sometimes there's just something objective about this music that has captured something profoundly human. Surely, at some point, there's people, as it were, behind this music that have experienced deep things that's now being brought alive and shared with us in and through this music. So here we have not a cheap trick, not some shortcut, but a natural path, a natural aid to our growing in depth of soul. So turning to the great music, starting with the obvious, the great composers. And here, I'm not thinking of sacred music. Sacred music is probably the most powerful instance of this. But right here, I just want to suggest, go to the great composers, and in them, begin to taste the greater richness, the depths of human life, and thereby cultivate your and others' souls. You naturally find yourself wondering, why music? Why is music so important? Why is it such a unique way of cultivating depth of soul? And honestly, here I'm inclined to say something very much worth wondering about. The great thinkers always have. At the same time, to some extent, I'm going to say, I don't think we need to worry about that. It's like this precious gift. We don't know exactly why. It's like, sage, the great healing herb that can heal, such and such ailment. We don't necessarily know why, but if you know it's good to drink this, we do. If it's been clear from experience that music has this amazing power, then we receive the gift and we run with it. Right? So most of us don't have to worry about trying to determine more deeply just why. But this much is clear. Plato, Aristotle, the great thinkers through the ages, when they talk about education, by education they mean forming the person, cultivating the rich depth for which we're made. They come back to music. It's not the whole show, but it's always a big part of it for them. And so I just say, let's receive the gifts and experience it, enter into it with this sense of, hey, the wise have suggested this. And I think we're going to see it happen. We're going to see our own experience if we're intentional and we persevere. Great music does great things in our souls. To get started with cultivating depth of soul through great music, I recommend you start with a playlist my wife and I have put together. It's not perfect, and there's probably better songs that could be on it, but it's just a very practical, concrete place you can begin. We recommend that for 2 weeks, you just listen to these pieces, get to know them, start to kind of feel and move with them. You're going to start to experience the power of great music. And from there, the sky's the limit in continuing to cultivate that depth of soul through great music.